ideally it should be Friday when you're watching this video, so happy Friday. We are looking at mixed factoring. So it's really just putting the past two lessons together. So some important rules is always check for a GCF and then ask yourself, can you factor more? So let's look at our first example. We first check, is there a GCF? No. So we have two terms. We have a perfect square 16, and x to the fourth would also be considered a perfect square because it's an exponent, and really even exponents are perfect squares. So this is going to factor 2 when we take the square root. That was a terrible square root sign. Remember, it's like you're splitting your exponents. X squared, and then 4 and 4. But we ask ourselves, can we do more? We can't do anything more with x squared plus 4. That does not factor. But x squared minus 4, we can do the difference of squares again. So plus minus, square root, x, 2, 2. And now we are done. So I would say, by rule of thumb, if you still have exponents, ask yourself, can you do more? Once again, we can't factor x squared plus 4 more because that's just not a factor in what we have. But that x squared minus 4 we could. So I want you guys to try example 2 and then check your answer. Alright, you should have got x plus 3 and x minus 3. Or x squared plus 9, x plus 3, x minus 3. Alright, so now here we have some simple trinomials, except for we now have a power of 4. And then this is x squared. So you're going to factor it just like you would a simple trinomial. So we draw our x. A is 1, so 1 times 9 is 9. B is negative 10. Our factors would be negative 9 and negative 1. Since this is simple, we can go straight to those factors. But because it's x to the fourth, it's going to be a similar idea. You're going to make this x squared and x squared. So x squared minus 9 and x squared minus 1. Now we still have exponents, so we have to ask ourselves, can we do more? Well, this is a binomial with perfect squares and a minus sign. So this actually factors to x plus 3, x minus 3. And then we see the same thing here. Binomial, perfect squares, minus sign. So this is x plus 1 and x minus 1. So, and then we have no more exponents. Everything's factored. So I want you to try example. Alrighty, so you can see I have my x. So those factors were negative 4 and negative 25. Once again, because this was a fourth power, think of it like you're splitting those exponents, 2 and 2. And then x squared minus 4 is a difference of perfect squares. So that factored to x plus 2, x minus 2. X squared minus 25 is a also difference of perfect squares. So that factored to x plus 5, x minus 5. Alright, try example 5. Alright, when we look at this one, it's very similar to the last one, except we now have a x squared minus 25 and x squared plus 4. So that minus 25 still factors. However, x squared plus 4 is not something that factors. So this is where we stop. Alright. Example 6 is a little bit different. There is a GCF. So 4 can go into all of those. And then we get x squared minus 3x minus 10. And then I want you to try and factor from there Alright, so then inside the parentheses you had a simple ABC, so you make your x and you get to go straight to your factors from your x. So, and those factors were x minus 5 and x plus 2. And 4 is also a factor, that's why it's still in front. Alrighty, try example 7. So if you need to use your flowchart, use your flowchart. I'll give you a hint. Check for a GCF. Alrighty, there should have been a GCF of 3, and then you have a cubic binomial. So that's our flops and sops. So this should be what you get. And then actually, so you might be like, oh, Miss, there's still a trinomial. This trinomial, when you do your cubic binomial, flops and sops, will never factor more. Alright, try example 8. Alrighty, so you first should have took out a GCF of 2, and then notice you have a perfect square binomial. So that factors to 2, x plus 6, x minus 6. And that's today's. So one thing you learned, and final checks 1 to 5. Where are you at? Have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful week.